So in keeping with last week's trend, I'm going to be doing another patron request.
BadOPCode speaking, how can I help you?
What the fuck is that? Okay, I'm going to take my eyes off that for a sec. I'm not now going to jump into the obvious and rather slanderous fat shaming, but I do hope you understand that that's not healthy, right? Personal choice aside, that's... oh god.
What makes my salon different is that this is a plus-size friendly salon.
Fantastic. So my darling delightful patron has decided to thrust this and a couple of other videos in a similar topic range upon me, and obviously by extension you. Now, I welcome the idea of plus-sized environments. Sure, I don't really care if you're plus size or not. Although I do want to point out that there are many people who actually are quite healthy that fall into the category of plus size because of the way they are framed. I'm not sure or convinced they'd want to be pigeonholed with, oh, I'm not wearing the right outfit for this. I think I'm going to change into something a bit more appropriate, so I'm allowed to be a bit more humorous.
A few moments later.
I wonder how many fat jokes I can make before it gets too much or I get too many thumbs down. So let's start with, you're so fat, every time you turn around you get a welcome back party. That's terrible. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Screw it. For some peculiar reason, that sign made me chuckle, but I can't think of a witty response to go with it, so instead I'm going to say, you have a watch on each of your would-be arms, you know, for each of the time zones you occupy. As you can tell, I'm quite the comedian.
Alright, that's so cute. Okay.
The person that answered yes was lying to you. I know that's rather harsh, and I don't want to sugarcoat it because I think it would be cruel. It would be like enabling someone to continue to do something that is harming them. Now I know I don't have much of a leg to stand on with all these tentacles. However, I would be remiss if I didn't point out you are not only unhealthy, massively unhealthy, but you are also applying far too much makeup to your face to look what you think beauty is. My view on this is quite simple. I have no objections to makeup, and to anyone who wants to put it on their face. But if you're going to do it to that level, to look beautiful, then you yourself are far too critical of the person underneath. You don't have to try so hard to be beautiful, as we all know beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Hi, my name is Jamie Lopez. I'm the CEO and owner of BadOPCode Couture Salon, and I'm 31 years old.
Damn! At the time that this video was put out in late September or December of last year, you and I were the same age. Oh, there was a fork in the road, and you picked it up and went to the buffet. I just want to take the opportunity to point out one thing that happens quite a lot in this video. Whenever we pan to President Baby Doll, she's always sat down. That is because, obviously, the weight is a bit too much for her body to stand up for lengthy periods of time. I would not be surprised if you were one of the lovely people who roll around in mobility scooters, like the ones portrayed in South Park that are very rude and obnoxious, kind of like what they are here. Except the ones here are mostly used by old people, because the obese people haven't figured out how to get them yet. Now I wanted to point this out because while you're passing off the positive message that, big is beautiful, which I'm sure it is to someone, being big and beautiful isn't worth it if your health is damaged by it.
I set up this place because I was humiliated in a regular salon. I went there to get my hair done one time, and I went to sit down and greet my stylist, and the chair loudly broke. And all eyes were on me.
No shit. You don't suppose it's because when you have to haul ass, you have to make 2 trips? No. We live in a society that is aging. We're living longer, and we're now in a really good position health-wise, to the point where there are a whole range of health regimens that exist for people to choose how they wish to exist, unless of course they have medical conditions, which if you do, I will apologize for, of course. But with that extra time, and with all the freedoms you have chosen a separate path, one where eventually your life is going to get far more difficult than it already is for you to move about and function. As humiliated as you were, it should have been the awakening, the epiphany moment that led you down a healthier path. Believe me when I say I know this. I've had a shock in my life that has made me change the way I am. We all have those moments sometime. We just don't double down on it if we're smart.
And it was a really horrible experience.
I must say, this is quite the expensive safe space then, to protect yourself from someone telling you that you may be so fat you fill the bathtub before you even turn on the water.
I knew I wasn't the only one that ever had to suffer something like that, so what I did was I saved all my money, and I had this dream, and I was like, I'm gonna make a salon that caters to the plus size women because I know I'm not the only one that goes to this.
All of which I must say is actually quite admirable, because it should be that everyone should feel welcomed in a space. Of course, you are catering solely to plus size. You haven't indicated that it is for everyone. That doesn't matter. Discrimination, thin shaming aside. However, there is a difference between being plus sized and being so big that when you jump off the high dive, you show up on radar.
Everything here is custom made and reinforced, so there won't be any humiliation or anything broken.
This is quite possibly the most important question I'm going to ask throughout this entire video. If you flap your arms hard enough, can you fly? Also, it's all well and good having reinforced furniture, but all that does is tell me that it has to be reinforced not for plus size, but for morbidly obese people. As stated, being plus size does not necessarily mean you're also incredibly heavy. I'm kind of curious to see which one of us is heavier.
Chairs that hold up to 800 pounds, pedicure benches that hold up to 600 pounds, waxing, big girls want to get waxed too. Like everything is gold, everything is glamorous, so you won't feel like, you're in this special chair. No, it's not a special chair. Every chair here is the same.
Okay, so a couple of things. Firstly, the place does actually look quite nice. It does remind me of one of those beauty salons we have in my own town here. Second, do you charge extra because they're bigger? That seems like a dumb question, but I am curious if you do keep your prices sort of matching the extra work. Also, do you think it's appropriate that in a place promoting plus-size women that you have pictures of Marilyn Monroe on your wall? She's hardly the right build.
I want them to feel like they're getting the royal treatment.
Have you ever seen any of the current crop of royals? Not many of them, while getting treated possibly like that, look like that. What with the whole public scrutiny thing that they live under a lot.
We get a lot of strippers. We get a lot of, dancers.
If they felt ashamed about their size at all, they could just hide behind social justice. Because they'll use the fetishizing argument against those nasty, kinky men, and possibly women. Do you think any of these strippers that are plus-size pole dance? Or the plus-size that might be on the larger size, that's kind of plus size?
I'm not rich from this place, so it's really from, the heart.
You don't suppose the reason you're not rich has anything to do with your expenses, perhaps? Now, this is the end of this video, but there are others I want to touch on, but I don't think I have the time to do it